Okay, good evening, dear viewers of Gaza Media. We are here this evening to have some update concerning uh, what is going on right now in Cameroon, in our community. There have been a lot of information, a lot of news since we last came online. Also, things that are happening again, also in the BLM in particular. But we would like to start with uh, the activities of what is happening in Cameroon right now after the proclamation of the result, the presidential result, where Paul Biya was proclaimed the president by the Constitutional Council and by the main opposition leader, Mr. Solima, said he has the because he had the majority of the vote of the popular vote from the polling station, so he still maintain his position as the president elect. And of course, we would like to bring in Barrister Vitalis Lekenju, who is very versed with political situation in Cameroon. He's also an activist and has been a lawyer advocate in some of this area. So we'll bring him in here for certain discussion. I think my screen is shaking. I don't know what is happening on my own end, but let me bring in Barrister so that we can dive into this discussion. Let me put it on the screen. Yeah. Yes, Barrister, good evening again. Once more, welcome to Gaza Media. Uh,
Good evening, Mr. Kumba. I'm
yes,
glad to be here.
yeah, thank you. I don't know what is going on my own end here, and you seems to be steady, but I don't know what is going on with my video here. I'm not sure,
Okay,
but I think my
no
audio is
problem.
still okay.
No problem. I'm good.
Yes, last time we were here, we were discussing on issue related to the political atmosphere in Cameroon. That the election were proclaimed. The Constitutional Council declared Biapo the winner. His Excellency, Issa Solomon, still maintained the position as the president-elect, and he has been given some orders. At first, he called on, prior to the announcement, he called on Ghost Town that was Sunday. After the proclamation, he put out a statement, and now he put out a 3 days ghost town. So my question is that not what is how is he going to achieve the presidency by locking down places?
Thank you so much, Mr. Kumba. One thing is clear. One thing is very obvious that His Excellency Issa Chiruma did win the election. If you look at the original results that were tallied at the various polling units, and you just sum them up, you see clearly that Bia was no match to Issa Chiruma. As the president elect, as the legitimately and duly elected president of the people, Issa Chiruma has shown that beyond reasonable doubt that he has control over the electorate who elected him. You started by talking about the mass protest, peaceful protest that took place. That was supposed to be peaceful on the Sunday, the 26th, prior to the announcement of the proclamation by the Constitutional Council. President Issa Chiruma came out at very short notice, gave that directive, and it was obeyed all over the national territory, I think with the exception of Yaoundé. And recently as well, he called for a 3 days ghost town, and it is being respected throughout the national territory. And yeah, it is very embarrassing that we have seen SDOs and some governors leaving the comfort of their offices where they have always been there and they care nothing about the ordinary Cameroonian to go on the street and try to pretend as if they are with people, calling on the people not to respect the ghost towns. We have to agree and understand that the legitimate president of Cameroon is Issa Chiruma. Power has shifted beneath the feet of the Bia and his cabal. So whether you are governor, whether you are a geo and so on, your statements on the street don't hold any grounds anymore because Issa Chiruma, first of all, is for a federated state which means that some of those structures are going to fade away. And the purpose of the lockdown is to ensure that civil disobedience is to credit legitimacy. And if you look at the level of success of the lockdown, if you look at the level of international recognition that Issa Chiruma has now, like just very recently today, the chairperson of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the United States Senate came out in a very tough voice, calling on the re-election of Mr. Bia a sham, insulting and stating some of the corruption and the ills of the Bias administration. For the chairperson of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the United States Senate to make such a very strong statement, it gives only one direction, that the international community is tired, just like Cameroonians are tired, and we call on Mr. Bia to please leave the stage when he is still relevant and not to plunge Cameroon into some sort of small disturbance that he will still eventually leave the country. At 93, he should be home resting and taking care of his daughter, Brenda Bia.
It's talking about. I like the way you put it, and some of what is happening. You're talking about the struggle, the power struggle. Like it seems to be like there are two presidents now. Somebody is giving order by popular view or by popular observation. It appears people are obeying the order from Issa Churuma. He has ordered the protest that was Sunday. They did that. They later on say, okay, shut down. People should stay home. We have seen images. People stay home. If apart from some deals or governors that they went out trying to encourage people to go on the street. Now, what happened if finally Issa Churuma now having to take over? In addition to the agenda that he has in the federated kind of system, we don't know whether it will be two state or 10 state. There will be a lot of changes. The elite that are in the government position that are also CPDM members, what becomes of them when they come back to their constituency?
You see, I have always avoided the word elite because to me, we don't have elite in Cameroon. We have a bunch of self serving individuals who only go to their various divisions or villages when there is an election. There is nothing. Let me speak for Lebi Alem, where you can go there and you see that okay, this particular bridge was constructed thanks to this particular person who is a director and so on. The BLM people have always survived based on their own personal intuition and personal initiative, personal struggles. And when you brought up the issue of elite, I feel that let us be clear. Mr. Bia that we know is almost at the level of a vegetable. I don't think Mr. Bia, as we speak, even knows where he is. So it is these so-called ministers and minister delegates and all these directors who have embezzled money within the years, use power unjustly to intimidate the various people from their villages, their traditional rulers, and so on. They don't want to let power leave them. So eventually, of course, when Mr. Issa Churuma takes power, because he is going to take power, what is glaring is that most of these people are going to become irrelevant. And Mr. Issa Churuma, from day one, he is not going to go after anyone. He has stated that very clearly. But there will be a system audit. I don't think we have ever had a system audit in Cameroon. What happened where we are not talking about the kind of audit that they come and say, okay, the COVID funds, of course, which was completely embezzled. I was very shocked to see a minister of health sit and state that they shared the money among the various ministers. That was the most bizarre. We have had the Nations Cup that Cameroon hosted. Of course, that they stole thousands of billions. We have had the Glencore file, and a couple of them. So what is clear is most of these people know that when Mr. Issa Chiruma, the president-elect of the Republic of Cameroon, who shall be sworn in very soon, though, once he takes power, it's not going to be business as usual. Mr. Bia has sustained power for his 66 years in power, including the time when he served in top government positions to the 43 years where he has served as the president of the republic. He has sustained power through very corrupt practices. Once you are appointed into an office, he gives you the leverage to steal as much as you can, be tribalistic as much as you can, encourage nepotism as much as you can, as long as you don't eye his seat, which that kind of governance is bound to fail. But when you have somebody who does not have any interest of the country at heart, the only thing that he looks at is his power. So what is clear is the elite is going to be over for them, and we shall have a new crop of persons. And that's why there are strategies in place to ensure that even the mistakes during that happened during the presidential election, they will not happen during the municipal and parliamentary elections.
You mentioned about the aging of the current president or the outgoing president or however they may want to call him Pobia. Because about seven, I think about 6 years ago, when you went for a peace roundtable conference in Paris, uh, where they were saying
It was
this,
here in DC.
yes, yeah, well, civil society round. No, there was after that 3 years ago there was an African summit in DC.
Okay.
Yes, that was just recent. I mean, at that time when he was a little bit confused when he came with a pamphlet to present a speech,
To read,
of which they
yes.
just wanted to have a roundtable conference. They were asking him to speak on the microphone. Then he later on said he was embarrassed. Then later on start narrating the Anglophone and the Francophone problem, the integration. They wanted to assimilate. They wasn't
Yes.
able. Then after that, people were complaining that he was a little bit deteriorating, that he was not very upstairs, he was not well balanced mentally. Then the worst was when he came to, I mean, the videos are circulating a lot. When he came to Maryland to here in the US, the African summit, where he could not even notice that,
He was sitting on the, yeah.
yes, he was somewhere, he was supposed to present a speech, or there were important personality in the hall. Then now, I don't. They mentioned that maybe he's not even aware of what this other top minister they call themselves are doing. So then, when you look at all of that, you don't actually know who is really ruling control or giving all this order that we see a lot of chaos going on now in Cameroon, because the amount of destruction that is going on. I think if a president was there, I mean, we have seen what happened in Tanzania, where Madame Samia Hussein, I just left because the military were not in support of her. Why can that not happen also in Cameroon?
The situation in Tanzania is slightly different. She hasn't left yet. She was forcefully sworn in somewhere, and I think she's back into the country. But one thing that Biya has been able to maintain or to cage the Cameroon military is because he created a lot of factions, which of course should not stop them. We still don't understand why, when somebody has become so unpopular like this, one courageous military man cannot just stand up and tell his battalion that I'm the new president. Then public applause will really take you. And when you say Biya is aged, I don't. I think that's a very nice way of putting it. The entire cabinet is a bunch of ancestors or ready to die persons just sitting there. These are people, if you look at somebody like Cavaye Jibre, the speaker of their so-called rubber stamp assembly, cannot even make a statement anywhere. He has completely lost it. He cannot speak coherently for up to 1 minute. And if who do we want to leave out? Laurent is so another. One thing that I want you to understand, Mr. Kumba, is that as we speak, their own calm is completely shattered. Ask yourself how, since this thing happened, the so-called proclamation or even the build up to the presidential elections, when have you heard any statement from the official spokesperson of the Cameroon government, who is Rene Sadi? He's the communication minister and the official spokesperson. Have you heard him speak? No. He has sent out, I think, 2 or 3 communiques, which doesn't really tie well with who the spokesperson of the government is. What we are seeing is a buffoon, a bully, Mr. Tanganji, talking without control, stating facts on what he knows nothing about, and a couple of other ministers and minister delegates without portfolio making statements here and there to create relevance, that to seek relevance when the cabinet reshuffle, according to them, will come up. So the issue is, this is The Cameroon government, the entire government apparatus, upper echelon of the Cameroon government apparatus, is like a mortuary or a burial ground. They are barely there just waiting to die. If you see when Belinga Obutu left power, when he was sacked from government, he died basically months thereafter because the only life they have known is the presidency, and that's why they don't want to retire. If you look at Rene Nzemeka, who is the chief of army staff, he has been in military for long. He has been chief of army staff, and his own son that he brought into the military has retired. He retired his own son while he is still there in government. So it is a very unfortunate situation for a country and for a people. If you look at the population of Cameroon, we are made up of basically vibrant youths. We had people in Africa that they used to call them useless kids, thieves, and so on. But when they had the opportunity, either being forced out of the country because of the Anglophone crisis or maybe because of lottery and other things, they came abroad and they became the breadwinners of their family. So it means that it is the environment that made them look bad and not the individuals themselves. So at this point, we need a system that recognizes the importance of youths and that can make use of the human resource that the young people come with. We are talking about AI, we are talking about technological advancement, we are talking about innovations. What do you really think the current minister of in charge of the police in Cameroon can do? Can he touch a computer? Can he understand the trends of AI in the society? No. We are bound to fail. If you look at the Minister of Technological Development and something, she came out during COVID and spoke gibberish. If you look at the current minister of higher education, Jackson Mendongo, I think he has been there from the one when the ministry was created. I'm not so sure. What do you really think Jackson Mendongo can offer? He has been minister of higher education throughout the creation of the various state universities in Cameroon. But as we speak, our state universities are ranked the lowest. Yet Cameroonians are very intelligent because he is unable to adapt to changing trends when it comes to academic reviews, when it comes to dissertation writing, when it comes to this. Even the porous investigation of sexual harassment and so on within university circles is sickening.
Yeah, I think yes, even infrastructure wise, I think you are right
It's
on the
failing.
point because even you go to university campus, I think in Yaoundé, when somebody I once saw a video where the water that was flowing from the restroom in the on the university campus was, I mean, it's something that I cannot even sit here and explain. I mean, talking about infrastructure and development, and this is where aging population, because I don't seem to believe what I'm seeing on the road network in Cameroon. Somebody posted a video that they took, I think that was 2001, in the Bamenda Highway. They call it Trans African Highway from Bunda to Bamenda. A
Yeah.
road that used to be tar smooth. I remember when I used to leave LeBLM, I would go to China, I would pay about 800 or 1,000 when I'm going to Hode in Bamenda. You take a taxi, it was a taxi, a smaller car. In less than maybe 2 hours, you are already in Bamenda. When I saw that video, the road has become a road. So my question is, where do these people leave the country to the point that a road that was once a tar road has become an air road? I mean, there are many examples. In my 17, when we did some reporting ourselves,
Yeah.
Gaza Media, where the stretch of road from my 17 to Muya Market, it used to be tar, very smooth. That road that goes to Kumba. At one
Yes.
time, the road it become like a water pool, like a pool of water that they have to go and carry laterite. I mean, we use laterite on a road that has not yet been tarred to grade it. I'm asking myself, this is Boya, the capital city of the southern Cameroon, that we're having this kind of infrastructure that a road that was once a tar road has now degenerated until it become an air road. So the economic, the infrastructure, the education is not just standard, but it is taking a diminishing return.
Yes, Boya is actually the town where I've spent most of my life, and it was very sickening. I was in Cameroon in December last year to go and bury my mom. I was very shocked to see that. I recall it was in Nonio Ephraim who renovated, who came and that how did I call it? to come and lay the foundation stone for that particular road, it is very sickening what Boya has become. From Munya now to my 17 is like climbing a mountain, and that is the general failure, the general lack of administrative tact of the Bias regime. And when we even go to places like Boya, I will not blame the Boya, even the local administrators, the mayor and the parliamentarian. And that's why it's very important for us, the BLM sons and daughters, irrespective of our ages, to ensure that during the municipal and parliamentary elections, we should put people in power that we trust, and not just people that we trust, because anybody that you trust can lose your trust at some point, but to put people that they will be able to stand up to whatever expectations that we have. And when they cannot, they can get back to us and talk to us. So if you look at the Bias administration and infrastructural development, it is the poorest anywhere I've gone. I've actually gone to almost every country in Africa. And let me be clear, it is not that we don't want Biya to be in power. Even if at 93 he could still offer some level of leadership, it's okay. If you look at the stadium, the football complex that he wanted to build, it's a mess. At the end of the day, he was unable to even build the stadium, talk less of the complex, because he had a hotel, he had other things. If you look at the Auto Road, it has remained where it is. They wanted to build a substitute for the current Douala Yaoundé road. Till today, nothing has changed. And if you look at those things, where do we want to list and end? And even when you look at the renovation that was done in Douala to reduce traffic, especially for those who are going straight, who are not stopping anywhere in Yaoundé, you see it's a mess. You're even talking about a road that they renovate, and shortly after that, it becomes a problem. We had a road in Limbe, the road leading to Limbe, just before the Nations Cup, before the Nations Cup was postponed for Cameroon to host. The road was constructed before they could come to renovate that road. The road was bad. It shows you that they use very low quality material, and they are not accountable to anybody. Like I always say, leadership, political leadership especially, is a social contract that you have with the people. So they have expectations from you, and they also have obligations towards the state, which I think Cameroonians have really paid a very fair share of their own obligations. When it comes to taxes, everything is expensive in the market. It is not because those things are very expensive, it's because of the exorbitant taxes that are imposed on those goods. So if we are paying that kind of, if you send a small, useless 2009 Toyota RAV4 to Cameroon today, the money that will be taken at the port is almost double the amount of the car that the amount that you used to buy the car and ship it back to Africa. So if you are taking money from us, at least be able to do something for us. For those who have been privileged to live anywhere abroad, even South Africa, one thing you realize is government doesn't do much for the people. What they do is they ensure that you have good infrastructure, from roads to schools to everything. And then they ensure that you have constant electricity supply and potable water. Those are the only things that we need from government. If you want to produce your goods from Wabani, and you are sure that there is accessibility, that you can bring a car and drive out without any stress, then a lot of people will get into farming. If you go to Lebialem, where the cocoa farms are, all we need from the government is just to tar the road that goes to that place, or even fix the road, or even call community leaders to join and contribute and fix that road. And if we are to contribute money for that kind of investment, we should be sure that the money will be used for the purpose for which it is contributed. It is really sad, the situation Cameroon is in right now, not just for Biya and his Kaba, but even for local administrators like mayors, parliamentarians, and so on.
Yes, and that's one other thing, and that's when we're really driving to that. When you see that very soon now, we were talking previously, we were talking about the fight that is the hustle that is going on in Yaoundé, because later on it will come now to the division and the sub-divisional level, where the youth now will be stepping up as I have a series of communication that I mean, some of them they are even promised that they want to come in here maybe and begin to put out their vision, what they can do for the community. So you see that now some of this older generation, when they come home now, there will be a lot of struggle too between them, because people will need to come in and maybe present to them what they want to carry. Before that, before we get into that, this road issue, you see, therefore you therefore see that because there's no structure from the top or from the bigger leadership, then you begin to see the reason why even our own small road network there are abandoned. I think you saw some image that somebody threw on some WhatsApp on the, was it the Chang Menji Bakaba highway?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that was like, I mean, this project that they are saying they are spending about 1 billion on it, or 500,000 already. Then there will be 1 billion, there will be another 500,000, 500 million rather, on that road. That by the end of this year, they must have spent 1 billion francs CFA. Then you ask yourself, where is the money going? What are they doing with it?
Mr. Kuma, I'm not cutting you short. On that particular road, if you are talking about 1 billion, then maybe update your information. That particular road, since from the days of Mr. Mbele
Mhm.
to through to all these politicians, every year they come and say that road has been, there is a budget has been allocated for the tarring of that road. Because that road is not just the Lebi Alem road. That road is part of the Pan-African road network that you were talking about. That road links, it takes it from Chad. Even though it took very long for the Chang route to come up, that goes through that he that passes through Sancho. When they ended there, they were supposed to pick it from there, pass through Alo, Lewo, Menji, go through Manu, and then they hand it over to Nigeria, which the Nigerian government completed their own side of the road long time ago. If you ask most of these young people who have passed through Manu to go to Nigeria, you will see that that side is perfectly done. So if you're talking about 1 billion, there have it's been hundreds of billions actually. That monies that were allocated and they were surely mismanaged or whatsoever way this regime works. So it is a very pathetic situation, and we need strong leadership, local leadership though, because if you charity begins from home. If you cannot change
Mhm.
your own, they change yourself. If everybody changes their own side, automatically your own day will change.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I watched a documentary. It was not actually a documentary, it was like a normal video with little editing, where there was this guy that he was, I think he was trapped by bus. I think it was from Calabar, passing through a cock,
Yeah.
a com,
Okay. Yes.
coming
Yes.
to, yeah, and coming to Boya. He was actually coming to Boya. So he was doing video along the road. I mean, you could see when he left there, the road was paved, smooth, right?
Yes. Perfectly done.
But at the side of the immigration, they check them at the side of the immigration of the Nigeria. Then when you come to our own side, you start seeing disorder.
It's vandalism.
Ah, then not to talk of the road. They start seeing pothole. There's no line that demarcating between on the two lane or whatever. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just
It's
like trying
sad.
to call. I was just trying to call. I mean, we are sitting here talking about some of these things and laughing, but it is a very serious matter that people have just become so comfortable with somebody being in power for 43 years. But I think, like I said, some of the youth, some of them have written to me. These are very young guys that are very energetic. But my other, I tell them that be ready. Do you know what you're getting yourself into? Do you know the function of a council? What would be your role? So that is what I'm asking that. Go and do some homework seriously. Because I think we should be able to organize maybe, let's say for a parliamentarian, a debate. Let the people come and stand and talk. Let people ask them questions. We moderate them. Even if it means they have to use Zoom, we should be able to use that.
Yes. Thank you for Lebialem. We are in the course of coordinating certain affairs because we have also realized that the strength that the CPD and political party has used most of the time, aside from intimidation, has been the use of money to buy votes. But on the contrary, we want to establish a team to raise money to fund these elections in a way that none of those running under our platform, any of our platforms, is going to spend their own personal money so that they should be accountable to the people. When you spend your money, you want to make profit. I'm not saying they have their salaries, that we respect that, but money that is meant for the development of Lebialem should be used for that purpose. And to start with, when you have a parliamentarian like Foju, who has been there since before most of the Libyan population was born, there is nothing that Foju has ever done that you can stand anywhere and point to. And he has been there for more than 24 years, I think 25 something now. And there is nothing. that you can even stand in the BLM and say this particular thing was done by Forju. I know when I say this, his cronies and his psychopaths will come and say, no, he gave money here, he gave money here. We know that when you give money to people, if at all you ever get the money goes to no issue. So what we are planning to do is to raise monies in a very transparent way. We start by constructing a website for the new administration where all projects that were assigned to the BLM or that will be assigned to the BLM will be listed on those projects. And then we'll sponsor individual persons, fact checkers on the ground to ensure that at the end of the day, whatever documents, because these are public documents, that's something that most Cameroonians don't know. If you want to have information about these projects, you can always get them, either by getting it officially or unofficially through those who are willing to ensure that development comes to the forefront of the people. So what we'll do is, first and foremost, we want to sponsor elections observers. Those who we have identified the number of polling units in the BLM, the entire BLM will ensure that at least at every polling unit during the parliamentary and municipal elections, there will be at least three persons from us to observe, not to favor us, to ensure that whatsoever is pronounced there is pronounced, and will ensure that immediately they pronounce it, the process verbal will be documented and made public immediately as per the wordings of section 113 before Tangaji comes and wants to talk law to a lawyer. And secondly, we shall ensure that those who are contesting for the various three councils and the various councillors, and of course the parliamentarian, which is the biggest fish, must be people that are accountable to the people. They are selected by the people and they are elected by the people. So when is, I think that should be in March or thereabout. During that time, we'll ensure that, be it a debate, be it another platform. So once the elections go through, because where we have failed is we push people, we audit people only before elections, and after elections they say no, they belong to Yaoundé. No, we will now ensure that whatsoever developmental project is assigned to the BLM, it is posted on that website. We have 17 condoms. In every condom, you just need one or two persons. From time to time, you send transportation to them, transport money to them, feeding money to them. They go and investigate whether those projects are actually being executed. And then we'll also have an online platform where if they are not executed, we write it there with your name and your face and probably your family. So that if you are unable to execute those projects, the shame should go to you, and we shall stop at no length taking legal actions to ensure that, because corruption is a very serious offense. And since Bia has just made the thing to look so normal, within the Libya land, we cannot control what happens in Yaoundé. But at least in Libya land, we know ourselves, we know our various condoms, we know our various traditional rulers, we know everyone in Libya land, and we shall stop at no uh, length to
Yeah.
ensure that we bring accountability to Libya land.
Mhm.
Libya land should be the pure the heaven that other divisions and subdivisions copy from.
Yes, because we talk about project, and that's something that is very important because at first, sometimes even up to now, some of those projects we don't even know. I mean, like you don't know how many projects have been sent to a particular subdivision. Then sometimes you just stay until you see somebody constructing a cover or doing something somewhere. Then after some time, you don't see the workers there, it's abandoned. Then
Yeah.
nobody's even asking any question. So you don't even have an idea whatever is going on.
Yeah, that's why we are saying that we need follow up. And mind you, most of those projects that are executed, they are projects that have been sent to the BLM by the central government because BIA is weak and ineffective. He has no control mechanism and no follow up or supervision with the projects that are handed to the people. He doesn't follow up. Most of those projects that are executed, they are actually done by either Legda, Lekudo, or Lekunde, or maybe some well wishers outside the Republic of Cameroon. And then the
Mhm.
CPDM cronies will adopt those projects and send to Yaoundé as though is the projects that they executed. And that's why I'm saying that we have to create this online platform, which will be created immediately before the elections. So whatsoever happens in this village, we shall have one person who is accountable. The public can always report, but we'll
Yeah.
have one person who gives us verified information with photos to ensure that when we post this, let's say if Vitalis constructs a project covered in cooperative Menji, and then it's posted somewhere, a CPDM person comes and say he did that. Then we'll now have to verify who is speaking the truth, and
True.
then we name and shame the person who did not do it. So we have to really take Lebialem seriously. We are the most backward division in Cameroon, to the best of my knowledge, as of now, in terms of infrastructural development and so on. But we are surely the most pious when it comes to education and other things. Why are a people so intelligent, human resource wise, but so backward when it comes to infrastructure and enjoyment of the national cake?
Yes, no, I think you lay it where I think if there's something that our people will need to really take some seriousness and maybe get into it. I mean, try to do things in the right way. Try to figure out the mechanism because you cannot just allow this go. But I'm also hoping that if Stroma come in, or when he will come in, there will be changes, a federal system there where the power will no longer be concentrated probably on one spot like Yaoundé, like the current system where we are doing now. Because if they say pure decentralization or pure a good federal system, we will have a little bit of maybe control mechanism. If something is not happening down here, then you can actually write to some authority that will take matters serious. That if you're a contractor, you take this project, you should do it, and when you do it, you should receive your money. Because I've also heard that sometimes contractor they do the work, then they are not paid, or they were supposed to pay like maybe 50% of the work as the work is progressing for them to come and complete. So they start the work, they are expecting payment to come and complete the work. They never receive payment and
Mr.
everything.
Kumba, those are lame excuses.
Really?
When yes, when you look at when the government owes you money, they pay you, irrespective of how long it takes. Ask them why is it that you take the same contractor who will be saying that to you. They have executed more than 50 projects for the government. So why do you continue to take projects if you are not paid? Because if you look at the Cameroon project document, which I've been privileged to look at as a lawyer
Hmm.
when I was doing a case, I don't want to give the details for confidentiality reasons. You realize that a pen on a project document is 1,000 francs CFA, when maybe a pen outside is 25 francs CFA.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, whatever documents, whatever amount of money that reaches you is still enough to execute those projects. Let's say if they say they want to construct a culvert in Lebialem for 20 for let's say 20 million. You and I we know that a culvert is not 20 million. A culvert is not even 1 million. So if they come and pay you 5 million and they're still owing you 15 million, you have already break even. You have already made profit. And that 15 million, the regime will still pay you. Except maybe a new regime comes up and they stress you. No matter how they stress you, they still end up paying you. If they're not paying you, why are you still there? What contractor do you know that has ever left the contracting business?
I mean, it's just it troubles me, especially like I look at the Minji sport complex that was supposed to be a volleyball and a basketball court. You know, uh, I mean, they used to complain to us that the insecurity with the military in Minji, with the gendarme, the police, and everybody in Minji, they do himself there. So what would they complain about?
No, that when it comes to those projects, the truth is insecurity is a concern. And that's why if you want to execute those projects, you should, of course, consider those things are factored in before these projects are awarded. I've always said that for the council that is operating in Chang and they are signing office allowance and so on, I mean, budget of running the office that is not operational. If you feel that you cannot execute this project, before you took this project, the security situation was as porous as it is. So when you take the project, you don't come and use security as an excuse. That doesn't work. You, in the course of carrying out feasibility studies for any construction or any project, be it in Lebialem or wherever, you have already assessed the security situation before you accepted the project. So if you cannot execute, don't even take the project. And why is it that all of them are taking these projects and not executing? Why do you take money that you will not use? Of course, a lot of those things are going to change henceforth, especially for Lebialem.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see the new energy and the younger generation
No, the
stepping
energy
in.
is strong.
Yes, to take
And
the destiny into your own hand.
yes, and for the Lebialem people, we state clearly that we are not against the old people because we have some elderly persons who have shown a lot of positive energy towards the development of the BLM, towards driving a positive future for the BLM. So all those people can still be welcomed into the train so that we make the BLM better and bigger. And secondly, we have a host of people who resigned from the CPDM when we needed them the most, briefly before this election. We appreciate that a lot, and we call on all others to resign. We know that in due course, a lot of people are going to resign from the CPDM, especially in the BLM. If you do it now, if you want to become relevant, don't wait until the situation is spoiled that way. You think that you will just sleep there and cross over. This is not Nigerian politics. We don't want those who take advantage of the vulnerability of the people. If you want to resign, the doors are open. Resign now. And then you'll be considered when it comes to nation building, when it comes to the BLM, building the BLM. I speak for a host of the people that I speak with. I'm not a voice for the BLM, but of course, I'm a key stakeholder when it comes to the new face of how the BLM would look like. And we have our groups, we talk often, and everyone is in unionism with what I just stated.
Yes, yeah, Vitalis, I want to thank you so much for taking the time for us to share this moment. We'll wait and see what the few days, what will happen in the few days, few weeks to come. Like I said, our goal is that politics and development go hand in hand, but at the same time, we at the grassroots we must take some responsibility and hold our elite accountable. So probably the days of hand clapping, you come, they vote you, then you go to Yaoundé, and it ends the story. I think that will be different. The mayor and all the councillors, they need to know what they are doing. They need to be in the municipality to take care of the business of the municipality and not operating the office elsewhere or doing things like that. I think that is going to change from now.
Yeah.
Again, I want to thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Kumba, and I like your final statement so much. Unlike in the past, and unlike during the presidential elections, we must understand that municipal and parliamentary elections, you are electing Mr. A against Mr. B. We are not electing Frundi or Pobia or Chiruma, maybe people that you have never seen. So when it comes to local elections, we call on the people of the BLM to take it very seriously. The nature that they have always said that the ballot box does not change a lot, it is different when it comes to municipal elections. I recall when Professor Ndabagan was the parliamentarian for the BLM, he was approachable. We could meet him, we could discuss with him. I was still in secondary school then, and at least administration was closer to the people. And when this young man, this man Foju or whatever they call him, took over, no one has ever seen him, not even at a funeral, not even at a very important thing that is affecting the life of the BLM, not even during most of these meetings that we're holding in Cameroon to ensure that when there was a blockade by government that food will not go down to the BLM. It shows you that we don't have a parliamentarian who has ever been there for us. So it is time for the BLM sons and daughters to go to the Elecam office, grab their voters card, and get ready for the municipal and parliamentary elections. It is never going to be the same again. We have to change the BLM, and the change starts with us all. We have to be the watchman for the BLM division, be it the projects, be it the elections, be it the electorate. On that day before they rig that election, we shall be there. It is not possible if all of us show the same interest.
No, sure. I think we'll definitely. I think based on maybe monitoring the election like by individuals, like you don't just vote and go home. You vote, you stay
Yes.
there, you see the counting, everything is published. At least now people are more educated. People know now the section 113 of the electoral code that it should be proclaimed or published on big board and everybody should be aware. So at that time, I think the cheating and all that kind of uh, backdoor will be significantly reduced.
Yeah, we say this to the elites, the so-called elites, because I know once you join the CBDM or when you are given a small post to be cleaning chairs at the minister's office as a minister delegate, you feel that you are the voice of the BLM. This message goes to them. If you want to rig elections, go to another division. As for the BLM, we shall monitor our elections. The process verbal that is issued, we shall receive it. I will be able to tally the vote count for the entire BLM by 10 p.m. on elections day during the municipal and parliamentary elections.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Thank you again, Vitalis, and I appreciate your time coming out today so that we'll share this thought again, dear viewer, who continue to explain to you, begin to bring you updates as things and as situation unfold, what is happening in our community. Like we said, this is Gaza Media. It is a grassroots, but we must talk a little bit of politics in relation to the BLM, particularly in relation to development, particularly in the BLM. Until then, we'll see you again next time. We apologize for the images from my end. I don't know what is happening on my own visual studio, but we really apologize for that. Thank you so much again, and have a wonderful night.